It's never too late to get started in yoga. Probably going to be the best decision you may make in a long time. When I got started in yoga, I kind of fell into it. I did it more for the flexibility aspect of it. I like how it made me feel. I definitely felt like a little bit more endurance and flexibility were building up at the same time. I didn't necessarily see it as a workout, which you can get a workout out of yoga if you're doing any form of power yoga, vinyasa, hatha, even yin yoga. You can get a pretty good workout if you're doing it to a higher level. Now, different styles of yoga like restorative, yoga nidra, swari yoga, any type of meditation type of yoga, pranayama, these are going to be a little bit more difficult for you to get any sort of intense workout out of your yoga practice, though there are people who figure out a way to do it. So that is something that could happen. That said, when you're working on your yoga practice, it really should be a cleansing for you from the inside out. Yoga is a lot bigger than just the initial asana postures. In fact, when you do yoga, you're going to realize that a lot of your lifestyle decisions and temperament is going to be slightly altered as you continue your practice. Now, this can really show itself in several different ways. For example, for me personally, my brother would always make fun of the fact that I was doing yoga, saying, I hate that you do yoga because I can't get under your skin anymore. So for me, I was getting a very strong feedback from my family that they can see a change in my temperament, my ability to really let things slide off my shoulders just a little bit more easy. Now, for other people, it's going to be when they're on a freeway. Some people might have, I don't want to say road rage, but just an annoyance when other cars are passing them up, or say they got cut off, something that would bother them maybe for 24 hours, 12 hours, maybe even a couple days might now bother them for 5 hours, maybe even 5 minutes, and then they can go on with their life and enjoy the day. And that's really a big deal, because when you are focusing on one task that's really distracting you from what you should be focusing on or what you could be focusing on, it really just makes you suffer more than you should. And the idea behind that is, why should you suffer? So yoga is going to be a lot about trying to dive into yourself and try to figure out a way to find balance and cleansing. Almost the idea of finding peace in every moment, whether you are in some sort of organization and you are troubled. You're not trying to necessarily find peace from the past or find peace from the future, but the idea is hopefully you can find peace in this current moment. And if you can do that, you're doing really well on your way to becoming a practitioner of yoga at the highest level. So this is something that takes time. It doesn't really happen overnight. One thing I really appreciate about yoga, particularly when you're doing the postures, the asanas, is that it's kind of a come as you are type of feeling. You don't have to be the best in the world at it. You just need to show up. So countless times as I was doing my yoga, a lot of times I wasn't trying to change my behaviors. I wasn't really trying to be better in any particular way. I was just trying to show up, breathe, and do the postures. You do this, it's going to change your brain chemistry. You really don't have a say in it. It is going to help you heal a lot faster. It's going to help you feel and process emotions and maybe even logic a lot faster. I can tell you stories about teaching restorative yoga and going back to take a test after and just feeling like I was cheating because of the way my brain was operating, feeling like I can see the answers in my head just by reading the questions, operating at a more efficient level because there was a peace and a calmness, maybe even more circulation flowing through my brain from the previous session. So what all this means is you have an ability to better yourself by doing this practice. Now, it's going to come from a mental standpoint when you're doing this, but it's going to transition into a whole lifestyle change as you continue to do your yoga, which is good. This is something that hopefully you're going to want to do and really embrace. That said, for those of you who really want to look to yoga as a way to stay in shape, flexibility, and endurance, there's beautiful ways that you can utilize different types of yoga, whether we talked about this earlier, whether it's yin, hatha, vinyasa, ashtanga, iyengar, power yoga. There's a lot of different styles. You can even make your own style to really help benefit your health. When I approach yoga, I always look at it as a tool in my toolbox. You don't have to really fit yourself into a box, into a style per se. Now, there are rules and parameters. These are just important to know, just so you can understand how they work with the body. what to expect. That said, you can kind of piece it together as if you really are some sort of master mechanic. You have a great set of tools, and you use a tool that's beneficial for you when it's beneficial, and when it's no longer beneficial, you can either dispose of it, set it aside, or you can pick a different tool. There's a lot of different options you can do, and that's kind of how I approach yoga for myself. And one of the most simple forms of yoga and easiest ways to get started is just to breathe. Breathing is one of the more beneficial and easiest ways to get started in a practice. There's so many different types of ways to breathe. You can go in through the nose, out through the nose, in through the mouth, out through the mouth, in through the mouth, out through the nose, vice versa. You can do it laying down, standing up, eyes closed, eyes open. We have a point of focus that we call drishti. That is the focal point that you look to when you're doing your yoga. This is a good way for you to really start training your mind into meditation while you're doing these postures. You're putting yourselves in these pretzels, and you're allowing circulation to get to some of these regions that are really hard for the oxygen to get to unless you're doing these stretches that are kind of like pretzels. But you put your body in these types of situations and allow for circulation and breathing. A lot of times you will go into some of these meditative states, even if for just a minute or two. Sometimes you won't, and that's fine too. Sometimes they will just help you so that you can get better sleep, deeper sleep, better relaxation, and maybe even go into these meditative states later on. And this is what I studied. Now, these concepts are not new. These have been around for thousands of years. In fact, they predate just about every religion. I had a hard time really embracing yoga. I thought it was doing something that necessarily wasn't aligned with my religion. I actually had to go back and read the literature and get proof that this was something that predates religion. And as you dive deeper into yoga, you can see that even those who have used yoga for their religion have done that with other types of avenues, such as different types of martial arts or whatnot. That doesn't necessarily mean you are following their religion just because they took part of something and put it into their religion. Just because I might be on my knees, that doesn't mean I'm doing a prayer. Just because I'm standing up doesn't mean I'm doing a specific martial arts. Just because I'm doing a plank doesn't necessarily even mean I'm doing yoga. So sometimes you will see things cross over, but for the most part, if you actually take the time to study yoga and the history behind the development of it, yoga was designed for an atheist, for a lifestyle of better health and wholeness. And that's not to say yoga is designed for atheists. That is to say yoga is designed to not really be a part of any religion. If you do take it and put it into parts of your religion, that's fine. But that's not necessarily what yoga is. It is just literally a tool that you can use at your dispense to really help you out. So that helped me out when I finally got through some of the history and some of the education about the background of yoga to realize this isn't something that I thought it was. And it's just really a tool that you can use for your own benefit. So I encourage you to get involved with any sort of ability to start yoga today, whether that's here with us at this platform or you have something local. Make sure you take the time and check it out because it will probably be the best decision that you're going to make this year.